So I'm going to talk about how I picked out my mic stand, the process I went through. And I'll do a memory disclaimer first, like I did with my sustain pedal picking video. This was requested well after I already picked out the stand and did my research, so I'm not going to remember everything. I may have some things wrong. Sorry if I do. So yeah, I guess we'll start. So the first thing I ran across is I've never had a mic stand before, so I had no idea what I was looking for. I found that it sounds like if you are just singing, then you would get a straight stand. It's just straight up and down. Usually has a round base. And if you were going to be singing while playing an instrument, which is what I would be doing, and this can also work as just for singing too if you wanted to, then you would pick one with a boom arm, so straight up, and then it's got the long pole sticking out where you would hold your mic on the end. And then it would also have a tripod base, 3 legs. So that's what I was looking for. That's what I narrowed my search down to. I just looked up a lot of microphones that people considered really popular, and I had a list of 24 of them. I read through several of the reviews. I don't know, maybe a few or a handful or so. I don't really remember, and I was running into the problem that there were just too many, and I really had no idea how to choose one. So I had to figure out a way to narrow it down. And I decided on a few criteria. One is if there were a lot of reviews saying that, the boom arm drooped, the mic, wouldn't stay in place no matter how hard you tighten it, then I just wouldn't get it. And then, you could put a little, you can makeshift a little counterweight on the other end of the microphone boom part. And people have done that, and they say it works fine. But I think it would be nice to just have a mic stand that you don't have to do anything with. And then another thing is some stands are just not very heavy, and they will not hold your mic. Like, they don't come with a counterweight, but on top of that, the mic stand itself is just light. So you put your mic on there, and the stand just falls over. So there's 2 ways I've seen to get around that. One is to make sure that the boom arm is parallel to one of the tripod legs, and it seems to hold much better, which, that's fine. And then some people just put something heavy on top of the legs to keep the stand in place. So if the boom arm doesn't droop and just falls over, then you can put something heavy on the base and it will keep it in place. Again, I didn't really want to have to deal with that. So those 2 things you will find a lot as problems in the cheaper stands, like $20, $30, and I'll list off those ones later. And they're light too. They're like 4 pounds, 2 pounds. They just have no weight to them at all. So if they fell in those 2 categories, I didn't want them. And then 2 more criteria I came up with, because that wasn't enough. It still left a lot of stands. And then that would still require me reading through all the reviews, which I just didn't have time for. So 2 requirements I came up with that would not require me to look through reviews is, 1, I'm brain farting here. Oh yeah. I decided that I wanted the boom arm to be telescoping instead of fixed. So fixed would be, it's like one length and it doesn't ever change. Telescoping would be, it's this length at the shortest and it can extend out to whatever length. I don't know if it's important if it's fixed or telescoping, however you say that. But I felt like maybe it would be annoying if it was fixed and kind of long and would get in the way or something. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I've never had a mic stand, but I went ahead and just cut stuff out based on that, just to narrow down the list. If it's a good idea or not, I'm not sure. And then the other one to cut down the list was to give the boom arm a minimum length, which ended up being kind of hard. So I wanted the mic stand to be on the side of my keyboard. Now, while I could put it behind my keyboard is currently against a wall, so I can't really put it behind there right now. And I could move my keyboard, but it would reduce some flexibility, and I wasn't sure if the stand would get in the way of like sheet music or anything. I just wasn't sure. And then you could put it like behind you and off to the side, but that would kind of be annoying for getting out of my chair and stuff. I don't know. I thought it would be nice if it was out here, and then I would have the flexibility to put it anywhere I want. Again, whether that's a good narrowing down factor, I'm not sure. I'll find out later when I start using this mic stand I picked out. But I measured from middle C to the very edge of my keyboard. It was 29 inches. It's a full-size keyboard. And so I said that had to be the absolute minimum length. That would already be putting the mic stand all the way against the keyboard. Ideally, it would be 30 plus. You'd be surprised how many are not 29 or 30 inches long. They're shorter. So it cut out a lot of them. So, drink. So before I go through the list real quick, actually, I don't think I need to say, I'll just re-say, a lot of the cheaper ones that you're going to see, like I said, they had a lot of reviews about how you need to, it droops or it falls over, stuff like that. I tried to kind of stay away from the cheaper ones and just kind of cut those out. But here is the list of all the ones I cut out based on their either fixed boom arm or the fact that the boom arm was not at least 29 inches long, ideally 30 plus. So first one, Samson MK10. It's fixed, it's 24 inches. This one's also about 4 pounds. I'm estimating on the pounds for the most part. And I just got those off of what the item weight was listed on Amazon, because Amazon's good for to look at if you want to see reviews, because a lot of people use that site. So that's what I used for looking at most of the reviews for these. And then you can also see this one's a pretty cheap one. And the problems I mentioned before, if I remember right, this stand definitely had those problems. Next, Ola Music HPS 101 TB. 27 inches and about 5.5 pounds. Cheaper price again. K&M 21021. It was fixed, 41 inches, 13 pounds. It seems like a good weight, good length. I was afraid of the fixed. Maybe I'll end up going back to a K&M later in life. I'm not sure. Next one, K&M 25400, also fixed, 31 inches and 4 pounds, pretty light. Next, Samsung BT4, 25 inches, about 6.5 pounds, still pretty cheap. On Stage, MS 7701B, also fixed, 30 inches, about 5 pounds. Then we have Ultimate Support Pro TF fixed, 31.5 inches, about 9 pounds. Oh, that weight is probably pretty good, $80, but it was fixed. And then we have Ultimate Support JSMCFB 100, also fixed, 31.5 inches, and about 4.5 pounds. Pretty cheap, pretty light. And then Amazon Basics. I couldn't find the exact length. Some people said it was 26 inches, some people said it was 28, so somewhere in there. About 3 pounds, really light, $20, really cheap. There's one thing Amazon did that I actually appreciated on this one, is instead of having to sift through all the reviews to figure out the problems with the stand, they just said it right up front. They had full disclosure, and it was really cool. They said, please note the following while using this product. Max microphone weight less than 1 kilogram, 2 pounds. Microphone end of the boom should be lined up with one of the legs. Do not extend further than 2/3 of the whole boom, which is good to know because that means you can't do it to its full length. And to be used only on flat ground. If using heavy microphone, add a sandbag or weight on the rear of the boom to provide balance. Most of that stuff I've already mentioned. It was pretty cool to see that. Anyway, next one. Pyle PMK SM20, about 7.48 inches. Next one, Ohuhu. I don't know how to say that. It's fixed, about 31.5 inches and about 2.5 pounds. Just a cheap light stand. On Stage SB9600. It's fixed, 82 inches, about 2 pounds and $140. Pyle PMK S3, 28 inches, about half a pound. And then Atlas Sound P521X. Be aware that this is just the boom, not the stand. So if you already have a stand and you need to attach this boom to it, maybe it would be okay. And then K&M stand, K&M 252 is 28.5 inches, about 7 pounds. So those are all the ones I cut out for the fixed and the length requirements. I think a lot of those, most of them were pretty cheap, so even if I went back, there'd probably only be like 2 or 3 of those that I would relook at, fixed but long enough and not super cheap. Alright, so after eliminating all of those, it left me with about 9 stands left. Still going to take a long time to go through reviews, but a lot more reasonable. So let's hit those up. So first one, Ultimate Support JS MCTB 200. It's about 34.5 inches, which sounds pretty nice, but it's only about 4.5 pounds and $30. I don't remember why I said no to this one, but looking at the pounds and price, I imagined it was probably cheap, and the reviews said that you basically get what you pay for. Hercules MS533B. This one was interesting. People seem to talk well of it. It's 30.7 inches, about 5 pounds. I'd expect it to be a little heavier, and then around $70. So this one I was considering for a while. It sounded like it was a pretty good stand. The thing that turned me off about it and why I ended up eliminating it is that it's effectively too fancy, is how I see it in my head. It has a little, I'm not sure how it works, but it has a little like thing for adjusting the height of the stand, if I remember right. And this little thing that adjusted is supposedly really nice and makes it super easy to adjust. But the problem that some reviews were saying is that once that thing breaks, the stand is useless. So I didn't like that. I don't know what happens. It seems like, at least with the stand I got, it has a little like screw thing. So I don't know what happens if something like that breaks versus something like the Hercules breaks, but it kind of had the vibe that regular stands wouldn't be rendered completely useless, while this one would be. And they pretty much said that it worked really well while it works. As soon as that goes out, it's not good. All right, next one. Pyle PMK S56, about 29.5 inches, kind of pushing it. About a pound and then $25. Again, I don't remember why I eliminated this one, but looking at the pounds and price, it was probably too light, falling over, drooping, something. On stage, MS9701TB, 30 inches, about 8.5 pounds and $50. This doesn't sound too bad. And I don't remember why I didn't pick this one either, but I believe the reviews probably kept me away. It seemed like while I was reading reviews for all these microphone stands, lots and lots of people said that on stage mic stands were just not good. Like even the more expensive ones were not good. So I imagine that and the reviews probably just made me not pick it. Then you have Griffin. This one was 72 inches, about 18 pounds and $60. And it seemed like a nice stand until I read the reviews, and then I don't really remember what they said, but I'm pretty sure it was the reviews that killed it for me. And 72 inches is pretty overkill for me right now anyway, especially for my first stand. So, whatever, it's eliminated. And then there's Lix Pro SMT1, 76 inches, about 15 pounds, $100. You can get it with or without casters. I don't think I care about casters, so I'd probably just get it without. And reading over this one, I don't know, I kind of decided against it because 76 inches seems like overkill. But it seemed like maybe it could be a good studio mic stand someday. So, kind of on the future list is where I put that one, but not right now. And then Ultimate Support MC125, 61 inches, about 35 pounds, couple $100. Again, it was 61 inches is overkill for me right now, but it seemed like it kind of, when I read the reviews, it seemed like it was probably second best to the Lix Pro for maybe a studio mic stand someday in the future. Gotta have experience with the regular one first. Then we have K&M 21090, 29 inches, pushing it, about 7 pounds, $90. This was my second choice in regular mic stands. The reviews said that this one seemed like it was a little overpriced, but I mean, K&M in general, when I was reading reviews for mic stands, they seemed to be well regarded, so it didn't seem like it would be a bad choice. I ultimately went with this next one on the list, which is DR Pro, because it seemed like the reviews overall seemed slightly more positive, and there were some reviews that said that they'd had the stand for years. There actually weren't that many reviews on Amazon. I ended up reading a lot of reviews on Guitar Center's site. And the one thing about the stand that bothered me, but even with that hang up, it still seemed it was a little more positive reviews overall than the K&M 21090 stand. The one hang up is people said that you had to really tighten down that knob to keep the microphone from drooping. So I was like, okay, hopefully it's not too bad. But they said it seemed like outside of that, people were pretty happy with the stand, and it lasted them a while. So that's why I went ahead and picked that one. So here it is, the lovely stand. The DR Pro symbols on the other side. But yeah, I got my mic in it, and I think I haven't really used this yet, but I tightened it as much as I could, much as my girl muscles would allow. And it seems like it holds okay. If you don't tighten it all the way, it will slowly droop. I have not used it much. I don't know how long it's going to hold. It's possible that I will have to angle it up to make it stay in place if this doesn't hold, you know, through as long as I want it to. There is one thing I do know though, is I've left it in this position overnight and it does droop overnight, so it does not stay in this position forever, and I've used 2 hands to tighten this thing, pretty much getting it as tight as I can. And it still drooped overnight. I don't know whether that matters or not. That's a lot of hours. But yeah, I'll have to just see how it goes. Hopefully it will be a good stand. Alright, I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, that was it. Hopefully I picked out a good one. We'll see.